This rich girl is seriously something else. Turns out all 26 of her classmates are undercover bodyguards and she has no idea. Her name's Akabane and her dad's the head of the National Security Bureau. He pissed off a dangerous assassin organization, so now 200 killers are after her with a $69 million bounty on her head. To keep her safe, her dad secretly hired 26 elite bodyguards and had them enroll as students in her class, watching her 24/7 without her even noticing. One day, another assassin tries to make a move, racing toward her to claim that huge reward, but just as he gets close, a foot suddenly trips him. It's the new transfer student with spiky blonde hair, Rio. He grabs the guy by the collar, ready to throw down, but the class beauty steps in and stops him. Assault is punishable by up to 2 years in prison. Rio backs off and the assassin takes the chance to escape. Rio immediately chases after him, cornering him under a bridge. The assassin smirks. "You're that legendary bodyguard, aren't you?" Rio didn't admit it. "I just can't stand bullies who go after girls," he says. The assassin catches on. He's got a crush. "Oh, so she likes you too, huh?" That throws him off for a second, just enough time for the assassin to lunge at him with a knife. But Rio reacts fast, kicking him down hard. "I'll protect her, even if it costs me my life." And just 2 days ago, someone asked to meet Rio. This dancer turned out to be someone really important. He's actually the director of the National Security Bureau, and the one with a multi-million bounty on her head? His daughter, Akabane. Lately, he's been cracking down hard on terrorists and anti-government groups, which is why Akabane became a target. To protect her, he never revealed his identity and just watched over her from the shadows all these years. Now, he wants Rio to step up and be her bodyguard. They grew up together, so of course, Rio agrees. He's more than happy to stay by her side again. But who would have thought his very first day at her school, he'd already run into an assassin? Good thing he stopped the guy just in time. As a professional bodyguard, he knows he has to be constantly alert. Anyone around them, even the most normal looking classmates, could be a threat in disguise. While Akabane practices dance, Rio watches from a distance, keeping an eye on her. After school, he tails her from behind to make sure she's safe, but then, bam, the same assassin from this morning shows up again. Rio chases him all the way to a warehouse, only to walk straight into a trap. It's a full-on ambush. With that many attackers, there's no way Rio can win. He's overpowered and quickly restrained. The assassins show him a video. It's of Akabane and her best friend. They've already sent more guys after them. Rio's blood runs cold. He wishes more than anything he could teleport to Akabane right now. But then something wild happens. Her best friend suddenly steps up. She calmly puts on a pair of gloves, walks straight toward the two attackers, and boom! A spinning back kick takes them both down. Rio was watching from the other side of the screen, completely stunned. What the hell? Don't tell me she's a bodyguard too? Just then, the warehouse doors slowly creak open. These students were actually all bodyguards, each one trained like a professional assassin. That's when Rio finally realized all his classmates were secretly protecting Akabane the whole time. The class president gave the command, 10 minutes, take them all out, and then came the real show. Each classmate had their own insane skills. One was a national freestyle boxing champ. Another was Japan's protege swordmaster. Even the rhythmic gymnast could turn her ribbons into deadly weapons. There was a trap expert who could rig up ambushes on the fly, a sniper who took the high ground, and a ninja who could literally disappear. They even had a torture specialist for extracting info, and a master of disguise who could become anyone. Some could even talk assassins into turning on each other. One girl was an animal trainer. She didn't even have to fight herself. Her beast did it for her. In the end, with everyone working together, they wiped out all the assassins. Turns out, every one of these classmates had been professionally trained since childhood, and that soft-spoken class president, she was actually their commander. Turns out, all the students in this class used to be assassins. Rio still couldn't believe it. These guys acted just like regular high school kids. No one would ever guess they were actually bodyguards. But the class president, Saito, didn't think Rio belonged there. His skills were way too weak. To make up for it, Saito decided to give him a chance by sending him on a date with Akabane. Rio stood there awkwardly, holding 2 aquarium tickets, totally unsure how to even ask her. Then Akabane showed up. Mustering up all his courage, he handed her a ticket. "Would you want to go to the aquarium with me?" Meanwhile, all their classmates were secretly watching from behind the scenes. They cracked up when he got rejected, but just a second later, plot twist, Akabane peeled off her disguise, It wasn't her at all. It was actually a classmate pretending to be her. The boy who played her blushed and ran off. Then, the real Akabane showed up, and to everyone's shock, she invited Ryo to the aquarium herself. Of course, he said yes, right away. But this wasn't gonna be some sweet romantic date. Nope, this was actually a setup, a gathering of assassins. Sato planned the whole thing to draw out the assassins hiding in the shadows. After that, everyone got into position. The assassination mission had begun. Ryo and Akabane were riding the carousel when he glanced around. His classmates were already in the middle of a fight. Panicking, Ryo tried to distract Akabane, but then his other classmates stepped in and even waved at him. He pointed up at the sky, then down at the ground, flung open his jacket to block her view. He did anything to keep her from noticing what was going on, but it was clear the ground wasn't safe, so he made a quick decision: boat ride on the lake. Akabane got lost in the scenery. Everything seemed peaceful until she turned her head. One of their classmates gave a thumbs up, target neutralized. But those guys were just the warm-up. The real assassins were just getting ready. Ryo and Akabane headed into the aquarium, thinking they could finally relax. Ryo was even about to try and get a little closer to her, maybe make a move, when bam, the assassins showed up. He got the order: block Akabane's view. But there were way too many of them. There was no way he could shield her from everything. In a moment of desperation, Ryo pulled a wall slam move, bam, and told her to close her eyes. Akabane thought something romantic was about to happen. But when she opened her eyes again, Ryo was crouched on the ground, looking completely exhausted. He was so done. How the hell was he supposed to keep this up? But reality didn't give him a break. It was just getting started. The aquarium suddenly blared with alarms. Ryo grabbed Akabane's hand to run, but the doors slammed shut. They were locked inside. Even the classmates couldn't break them open. Just then, someone appeared behind them. It was the director's other daughter, Akabane's older sister. She'd been a powerhouse since she was a kid, taking down over 50 thugs on her own when she was just 10. But even with all that, the director never saw her as good enough, so she blamed everything, every bit of that rejection, on Akabane. Now, she had planted bombs all around the aquarium. She stuck out her tongue, showing off a piece of candy. It was actually the trigger for the explosions. If she set them off, no one was getting out alive. The route to disable the bomb system was guarded too. No way to break through. In the middle of this chaos, Sato found a hidden emergency exit. He told Ryo to take Akabane and escape. The rest of them would stay and fight to the very end, even if it meant dying. But Ryo hesitated. If he left with Akabane, he'd be leaving the rest of his classmates to die. In that moment, he turned to Akabane and asked, "Do you even like our classmates?" "Of course," she said. "I love them all." That was all Ryo needed to hear. To protect someone, you have to protect what they care about too. "So you all think I'm weak?" he said. "Fine, I'll show you what I'm really made of." Have you ever seen a bodyguard this shameless? Ryo walked right up to the older sister and kissed her. He actually kissed her just to snatch the bomb detonator out of her mouth. Yeah, it was definitely crossing a line. Totally a pervy move. But gotta admit, it worked. The whole situation flipped after that. The sister ran off. The director was pretty pleased with how things turned out, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. According to Intel, there's a traitor in their group, and they've got to find them fast. Meanwhile, Akabane's dance competition is just around the corner. Suzune 3 took charge of the operation and raised the security level to level 10. But the second Akabane opened the classroom door, boom, everything was out in the open. She saw "Defense Operation" written in huge letters on the blackboard. Oh, this is bad. Their cover's about to be blown. Ryo froze, totally at a loss for how to explain. But then, Akabane suddenly said, "Is this a surprise plan to cheer us on for the competition?" She pretended she hadn't seen anything and ran out the door, all smiles. She was genuinely touched. She never expected that everyone was secretly preparing a surprise for her. But what she really didn't expect was what was coming next. Never trust a pretty woman. Akabane's older sister showed up, and she already had everything on Ryo. His birthday's August 10th, his worst subjects are physics and math. She even almost revealed what color his underwear was. Then she straight up pulled a gun on him, pressed it to his neck, and proposed. Yup, forced marriage. The whole class was stunned. But Ryo stood his ground. "I only love Akabane," he said. Oh no, just like that, the sister's first proposal went down in flames. To smooth things over, Ryo had dinner with her afterward. You know how women are. She told him she knew who the mole was, but if he wanted the name, he'd have to marry her. Of course, Ryo said no. Right then, he got a call. The scammer had just been attacked and seriously wounded. The shooter had gotten close without raising suspicion, which meant it had to be someone they knew. So to find out who the traitor was, Ryo agreed to marry her. Sometimes you've got to use your looks too, but the sister knew he was only doing it to protect Akabane. The next morning, she left town and sent Ryo the security footage of the attack on the scammer. All 26 students in the class were bodyguards, but one of them was a traitor. Everyone was having a meeting when Ryo walked in and played some surveillance footage. The person in the video was Sato. No one could believe it. It was him all along. At that point, Sato stopped pretending. "You guys are all a bunch of weaklings," he sneered. "A king can't carry a team of noobs. It's time I found a new boss." Of course, the rest of the class wasn't going to let him walk out like that. "You want to leave? You'll have to step over our dead bodies." A little while later, Akabane showed up. The classroom looked like it had been hit by a bomb. Her bestie quickly explained, "Don't worry, it was just Ryo fighting the others." But he admitted he was wrong, and we forgave him. Turns out, Sato had joined the Yakuza, specifically the Yamaguchi-gumi. Their boss had been a longtime enemy of the director, and the day of the dance competition, the director would be there too. Sato's plan was to kill Akabane in front of him to make him feel what it's like to lose a child. After Sato left, the students were ready to give up. They realized the truth. Even all of them together weren't enough to beat him. If there was never a chance of winning, then maybe there was no point in fighting at all. Even Akabane's best friend wants to quit the dance competition. When Ryo found out, he rushed to find her. "All these years you've been by Akabane's side. Was it really just because of the mission? Do you really feel nothing for her?" Her best friend thought back to all the memories they'd shared. They were genuinely happy together. Just then, Akabane showed up and hugged her tightly. "If you want to quit, I'll support your decision." But the best friend had already made up her mind. She was going to compete in the dance competition. She finally understood. The moment they stepped on stage together, she'd be standing right beside Akabane, and that made her the best person to protect her. The next day, Akabane's sister gave the classmates a recording. It was a conversation she had with Ryo. In it, he said he was willing to give everything to protect Akabane, and also to keep his classmates safe. Meanwhile, Ryo was still training hard, but he couldn't even beat Akabane's best friend. That's when the classmates showed up. They had made a decision. They were all going to fight together. The day of the dance competition, everyone took their positions around the venue. Even the director showed up, and of course, the Yamaguchi-gumi assassins wouldn't miss this either. Akabane's performance hadn't even started yet. All 26 of Akabane's bodyguards jumped into action. The battle had begun. Her best friend quickly grabbed Akabane and rushed toward the safe rooftop. But then, the Yamaguchi gang's big boss showed up. Weirdly, the voice was a guy's. When they pulled off the mask, it turned out to be the disguise artist and Ryo pretending to be him. At that moment, the real Akabane took the stage. While she was dancing, her classmates were fighting too. Some doing martial arts right alongside her moves. One classmate and an assassin were battling it out in the hallway. The animal trainer was facing off with someone in the parking lot, and another classmate was coordinating the whole operation. The fight was heating up near the emergency entrance on the west side as well, but everyone totally missed one spot. Right above the stage, someone was cutting the cables, holding up the spotlights with scissors. Just as though they were about to cut the second cable, a hand shot out and stopped them. It was Akabane's sister. Even though she didn't like Akabane, she didn't want her to die. With the cable about to snap, the sister pulled with all her strength, saving Akabane on the stage just in time. But the danger wasn't over yet. A hitman sneaks in backstage. Akabane's best friend takes advantage of Akabane's solo dance to jump into the fight. She grabs a rope nearby and quickly strangles the guy, sending him off to the northwest. But just after dealing with him, they spot another assassin aiming a gun at Akabane from the other side. Just as he's about to shoot, the con artist from their class shows up and takes him down. Akabane's best friend's still confused. Wasn't that con artist badly hurt by Sato? Turns out, Sato was just pretending to surrender. He did it to uncover the real traitor. From the Yamaguchi gang's computer, they found out who it really was. None of the classmates betrayed anyone. The real mole was one of the director's own men. The director took advantage of the loud dance music to shoot his own man. Now, everyone's moving into the final showdown. At the final showdown, the dance ended and all the assassins were taken care of. Now, only the main boss was left. They couldn't find any advantage against him and were quickly knocked down. Rio struggled to crawl toward the edge. The boss pulled out a knife, ready to finish him off, but suddenly, it turns out Rio had deliberately led him to that spot. Sito spotted the boss's weak point, right on his right thigh, and launched a sudden attack. In the end, Rio's spinning kick knocked him out cold. The danger was finally over. Akabane's team won the dance competition. All their classmates were cheering for her upstairs. The director could only clap quietly from the crowd, silently watching over her. Even after that, there were still assassins trying to take Akabane down, but her classmates kept protecting her. This film is called Bodyguard Classroom E-kmix. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Recommends everyone goes and watches the original. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.